You ever hear something so shocking that it makes you question your entire life up to that point? That happened to me. I found out my pastor, the man who baptized me, counseled me, and preached about honesty and integrity, was secretly my father. And let me tell you, nothing prepares you for a revelation like that. By the way, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? I love seeing where all of you are tuning in from. So, my name is Rachel. I'm 28 years old, and I grew up in a small southern town where everyone knew everyone else's business, or at least we thought we did. My mom raised me alone. She always said my dad had left before I was born, and that was the end of it. Anytime I pressed for details, she'd shut me down with a quick, "Some things are better left in the past." It hurt, of course. Growing up without a dad, you always feel like there's a missing piece. At school Father's Day events, I was the kid who brought her uncle or just sat alone. When I was a teenager, I begged my mom to at least name him. She said his name was Daniel, but that he wasn't someone worth knowing. So I buried that curiosity, at least on the surface. Meanwhile, church was the center of our lives. My mom never missed a Sunday service, and she made sure I didn't either. Our pastor, Pastor James, was this charismatic, well-loved man. He wasn't fire and brimstone. He was warm, funny, approachable. He baptized me when I was 12, prayed over me at my high school graduation, and even helped me apply for college scholarships. He felt like a father figure, honestly, though I'd never have admitted that out loud. But here's where things started to get strange. When I was around 16, I noticed my mom always avoided him outside of church. Like, she'd sit in the back pew so she didn't have to shake his hand after service. If he came over to say hello, she'd get this stiff, polite smile and then hurry us out the door. At the time, I thought maybe she just didn't like him as much as everyone else did. Then when I was about 21, something happened that I brushed off back then, but now haunts me. I was helping at a church bake sale, and Pastor James's wife, yes, he had a wife, said to me with this odd, almost wistful smile, "You look so much like James did when he was young." I laughed awkwardly, but it stuck with me. Fast forward to last year, I was back in town after finishing grad school, living with my mom again to save money. She got really sick, cancer, and one night in the hospital, she said, "Rachel, there's something I should have told you a long time ago." My heart raced. I thought maybe she was going to confess some financial problem or that she'd secretly remarried once. But no. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Your father is Pastor James." I swear my brain short-circuited. I laughed like she had to be joking, but she wasn't. She told me she and Pastor James had had an affair decades ago. He was married even back then, and I was the result. She'd kept it a secret to protect me, and maybe to protect herself too. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My pastor, my spiritual leader, the man I trusted, my father. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just sat there numb while she apologized over and over. The next few days were a blur. I couldn't look at Pastor James the same way. Every sermon felt like a lie. Every word out of his mouth felt tainted. But at the same time, I needed answers. So I confronted him. After the Sunday service, I asked Pastor James if we could talk in private. He smiled, probably thinking I wanted advice or just to chat. Once we were alone, I looked him in the eye and asked, "Is it true? Are you my father?" He froze. The color drained from his face. After a long pause, he sat down and whispered, "She told you." That was all the confirmation I needed. My heart was pounding. I couldn't hold back. I cried, I yelled, and I asked why he never told me the truth. Why did he let me grow up without a father while preaching about family? He tried to explain. He said he loved me from afar, but he was afraid to ruin his marriage and his reputation. He hoped my mom would tell me when the time was right. Do you know how surreal it is to have your pastor, your supposed shepherd, admit he's your dad? My emotions were all over the place. Rage, heartbreak, even a weird flicker of relief because at least I finally had an answer. But then it got messier. Word started to spread. My mom must have told someone, or maybe Pastor James did, I don't know. But in a small town, nothing stays secret for long. Within a month, people were whispering in pews. His wife found out if she hadn't known already, and she was devastated. Their marriage nearly collapsed. Some people in the congregation defended him, saying he was still a good pastor. Others left the church in disgust. And me, I felt like I was walking around with a target on my back. People either pitied me or judged me. Some called me the pastor's mistake. Like, it was humiliating. At the same time, Pastor James started reaching out more, calling me, asking to meet for coffee, offering to help me financially. Part of me wanted to slam the door in his face forever. Another part, some broken, lonely part, wanted to accept. Because despite everything else, I so long for a father, like it tore me apart. And I did meet him once, just to talk. Yeah, like we sat in a diner booth, like awkward as hell, sipping coffee while he told me stories about his youth, about how he always kept tabs on me from a distance. He said he was proud of me. Hearing that from him made me cry, and I hated myself for it. How could I crave approval from a man who lied to me my whole life? Eventually, I had to set boundaries. I told him I couldn't just flip a switch and see him as dad, that maybe one day we could build something, but it would take time. He cried then. I'd never seen him cry before. As for my mom, she passed a few months later. I loved her, but I also resented her for dropping that bomb on me so late. She robbed me of the chance to process it with her while she was alive and healthy. Now, a year later, I'm still in therapy trying to sort it all out. My relationship with Pastor James is complicated. We talk occasionally, but it's strained. His church is still standing, though smaller, and some people still look at me like I'm a scandal walking around. But I'll tell you this. I refuse to let shame define me. Their choices weren't mine. The truth hurt like hell, but it also set me free. For the first time, I know who I am, messy history and all. I found out my pastor was secretly my dad, and it changed everything. Now I want to hear from you. What would you have done if you were me?